Charleston Lake Provincial Park. It is mid-September. We've had a beautiful week here.
It's been a 4-night trip, Monday to Friday. It's our second time in this park.
Yes, the first time was notable. Back in 2017, we were camping in flood conditions, as it turned out. No flooding this week. It's been absolutely glorious weather. A little chilly today, but before the week was just absolutely ideal.
It's kind of silly to talk in these videos about what the weather is because that's going to be different from time to time. But I think it is pertinent when we talk about this park.
Yeah.
Because how much water there is will affect your experience
and
where the water is.
Right. So we have just a fantastic site. As near as we can tell, it's the best site in the park. It is site number 335. We do have a water view. We have direct access to the water. There's a place to put your chairs beside the water and just sit by the lake. It's really nice. However, we're thinking if there was rain, this could be a wet site. You can see places where rivers go through the campsite when there's a lot of water. So, but we didn't have that problem. So,
right. So it's our second time ever really camping in September.
Mm-hmm.
And the weather has been glorious. Beautiful during the day, in the mornings, nice hiking weather. In the evenings, a bit chilly. That's okay. Hooray for the furnace.
Yeah, cool at night.
And fantastic in the afternoon. No sweltering.
Yeah.
Quite nice.
But it's been warm enough to swim. Not that I did because I like it hot to swim. But I definitely could have. I went so far as to wade into the water. It's a beautiful lake for swimming too. Note to future self, because there's lots of little islands in this lake, and I personally like to be able to swim to an island and back, and so there's lots of opportunity for that.
The other thing, I guess, that has been quite good, and of course the summer has been very strange for how many bugs there are and when you find them, but there's lots of bugs, but none too much that are bitey.
I got one bite on the first day, and that was it.
And I'm not sure that I have any bites, which I can't think of a time when that's ever happened.
Yeah, if Joel doesn't get bites, it's not buggy. We never sprayed.
We never sprayed.
We never even took our what we call James Bond out. Our, what's it called? A thermocell?
It's a thermocell.
We never took that out. I did take out a little off candle thing, but that was more... Because it was dark. It was getting dark early, so it was nice to have a little candle light while we were eating dinner.
Right. The park, we were here once before, as you mentioned. It was eventful, so we got a much better use of the park this time, I think, than we did last time. Mm-hmm. The site is spectacular. It's roomy. It's got water view through the trees there. It's the shape that we like, where there's a little bit of a driveway. The privacy is quite good, although there are other sites where the privacy is, I would go so far as to say, spectacular.
Yeah.
Not in this campground. We are in the Shady Ridge campground, where I would say there are a great many amazing sites in Shady Ridge. It's very hilly. The whole park is hilly, but the other campgrounds, I think, are less so than Shady Ridge. We took a walk around the Bayside campground, saw a few campsites that we liked. For old time's sake, went around the Meadowland campground. That's where we were in
the fateful 2017.
I would say in Meadowland, there are some terrible sites in Meadowland, and there are some amazing sites in Meadowland. And one of the other things I would say about the park in general, they've been investing.
Yes.
We have a comfort station in Shady Ridge, and it looks like Bayside and Meadowland both have a comfort station and a mini comfort station, depending on where you are in the campground. They're all shiny, brand new, regular style. The small ones don't have laundry, obviously. We never did look at the laundry facilities in Meadowland, so we don't know how many washers.
But they had a really new comfort station. So.
Yes. Also, you may hear birds noisy.
Yes. Well, I mean, that one's not so bad, but A lot of crows, and the Canada geese really kick up a fuss, especially at twilight. Sometimes at other times, but that might just be a September thing too, as they're getting ready to migrate.
Also, Elmer Fudd.
Oh yeah, there's some hunting in the area. Either that, or there's a mass murderer in the area. Gunshot going off in the twilight hours too.
In terms of shopping, the rental office has a modest selection of some cold drinks and some ice cream novelties. No other kind of food or supplies. There's some Ontario Parks gear.
Actually, they had some pretty good things.
I mean,
in terms of non t-shirt things, they had you maybe didn't even notice.
Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. So apart from Ontario Park swag, nothing really to speak of. We're fairly close to the town of Lansdowne,
which has a Fresh Mart and a convenience store.
Right.
We didn't go into those things, but we noted that they were there.
Right. You can get, interestingly, ice from the rentals office and firewood at the park gate. Go figure.
So,
apart from all the conversations, there are, a variety of kaibos, just pit toilets. They are in decent shape and they're well maintained. Nothing too fancy.
Sinks with running water and soap. So, yeah. They're fine.
The fill and dump is near the front gate.
2 lanes.
2 lanes. It is fill. Then dump,
which is unusual.
That's an unconventional approach. Also, to get into it, if you happen to be in Meadowlands and you've got a trailer, they've got a trailer turnaround at the entrance to the Bayside campground, because it would be hard to get out of Meadowlands and into the dump station unless your trailer is very nimble.
Mm-hmm. The cell service here is okay. Yeah. You can certainly make phone calls, and the internet is slow but there.
They actually had a park alert to say, careful about checking the weather before you come here and all that, because the cell service is unreliable. So
that might be for Bell.
Might be.
We're on Rogers, so Rogers, no, we didn't really have a problem.
It was okay. Let's talk about what you can do in the park. We did rent a canoe. Charleston Lake is a very big lake. And the park is only in one little corner of it. Mm-hmm. But there is lots and lots of paddling to do. We had a quick paddle in the evening, and another paddle in the morning. The rentals here are available like 10:15 until 5 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. So if you want a canoe outside of those hours, you kind of have to plan ahead and catch them the afternoon before, which is what we did.
So yeah, we just did a 24-hour rental that allowed us to have a paddle in the late afternoon and then again in the morning, which was nice because that's when the wind is less in general. We did take a paddle in the morning down from the campsite, went around to Slim Bay, which was actually a nice paddle, and it gave us a little bit of a destination. You canoe under a floating bridge, which is kind of neat to get into Slim Bay, and you canoe by the walk-in campsites or canoe-in campsites that are in the park as well.
Mm-hmm. Hiking. So there are a number of trails in this park. Mm-hmm. I guess that number would be 6. And we walked on 5 of them. They're nice little trails, right? For the most part, each one is a little over 2 kilometers. 4 of them are loops. 1 of them's an out and back.
They've done a nice job on, I think, 3 of the trails, doing an interpretive trail where there's little guides, to read when you get to the correct number post, etc. Or one of the trails actually had signage as you went along with information. And, they were interesting.
And it was good because, being September particularly, there's not a lot else going on by way of discovery. They have some discovery programs on the weekends, apparently, according to the schedule, although even by the time we arrived, I think that was the end of the schedule.
Yeah, but I think during the summer, I gather this is quite an active park in terms of having discovery programs. I get the impression that this park is like it's a going concern, right? They're keeping
For
things
sure.
well maintained. They have lots of activities, and they
So even while we have been here in September, they're doing things like filling some potholes, which is important because the roads are bumpy.
yes.
They are putting up new signage on one of the trails, that kind of thing. So lots of maintenance going on. Things are quite well taken care of.
Yeah. There are a couple of beaches here, the Campers Beach and the Day Use Beach. Neither one of them are anything to write home about, but there's sand there, and the water is crystal clear. It's not a T-type lake. It's a sandy bottom. So it's a fine sand, so it will kick up a little bit of silt as you walk on it, but it's very pleasant, and the lake is, at least at this end of the lake, is fairly shallow, so the water's decently warm.
The one thing that we probably had time to do but couldn't be motivated enough to do was to walk on the 6th trail, which is called the Tallow Rock Bay Trail. And it's a 10K loop. There are places where there are hike-in campsites along the route. There is a nice lookout, and it's meant to be quite nice, but 10K walk was more than we wanted to do on vacation.
Yes, and it's not like it's 10K of easy strolling, which would be fine. It's, there's some rugged scrambling. So.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about each of the trails and their character. The Sandstone Island Trail is a nice loop. You do some amount of climbing up and down. There's interesting geology going on there, and the interpretive pamphlet tells you all about that. There's kind of a cool spot where, sort of like an open cave, where people have at various times, according to archaeologists, used that spot for shelter.
Which, when you look at it, it seems like an obvious spot. Because the thing about this park, too, and I'm digressing a bit, it's in the southern peninsula of the Canadian Shield, so you do get those big, impressive rock formations, cliffs and things, so it's very picturesque. And that is very evident on that particular trail.
Near there is the Shoreline Trail, and that's quite a lot of scrambling up and down rocks. So definitely, for both of these trails really, proper footwear and hiking poles strongly advised.
Yeah, and we were able to do, because the trailheads for those two trails are very close together, we were able to do those two trails back to back. It was,
That made for a nice morning of hiking.
Yeah.
Similarly, there's another pair of trails. One is the Hemlock Ridge Trail, which also has a little bit of up and down. You're on the top of the ridge and the bottom of the ridge. There's some variety of scenery there.
On the ridge there are hemlocks.
They didn't just make that up out of whole cloth. They thought, hey.
And actually, the interpretive part of that trail is just going into all the various kinds of trees. That's kind of the topic for that trail.
Right. It shares a parking lot, if not a trailhead, with the Beach Woods Trail. And presumably there are beech trees there. This is the trail where, instead of having a pamphlet and signposts with numbers on them, they had actual fancy signs with graphics and all that stuff.
I left some acorns back there. I'm thinking maybe a squirrel just discovered them.
And that was a very pleasant stroll in the woods type of trail. Really enjoyed that.
Yes, very easy going. As a matter of fact, the first, I'm thinking of Quiddity. The Quiddity is the other trail that we went on. The first 300 meters of that trail are in fact accessible, so very easy. And then after that, you work your way up to a lookout, and the lookout is actually quite great. A beautiful lookout over Charleston Lake, and it was nice.
You can get a sort of the opposite view that you can get from the back of our campsite. Outside of the park, had things been different, we had had a lot of rain, we would have been hard-pressed to find too much to do very close to the park. We're not close to any towns that are, particularly quaint, or certainly the nearest craft brewery, according to Google, is an hour's drive from here. So
an hour from here, there's tons to do. So if you had like a really rainy stretch, the thing to do probably, other than sit in your trailer and play games, would be to drive the hour, do things more in the Thousand Island area. Yeah, because right around this park, unless you're really, really into fresh mart.
Really into fresh. But, come on, southeastern Ontario, get your act together. We need more craft breweries in this neighborhood because it's a great, great park to come to, but we need to do some brewery touring here. In terms of any wildlife, there's a black squirrel over there poking around.
Lots of black squirrels, chipmunks, red squirrels. We did see a garter snake on one of our walks.
It was on the Quiddity Trail. There's a boardwalk over the marsh. Saw a couple of herons.
Yeah, canoeing. We saw more interesting birds. We saw swans, herons. Actually, we saw a heron on one of our walks, too.
Yep.
Loons, like really close.
Yeah, that was something I've never seen before.
Quite a collection of loons.
There were four loons standing on a rock in the middle of the water.
Yeah.
And then one popped up right beside our canoe. Mm-hmm. That was something. He was a big fella too.
He was. They were healthy looking loons.
And there's lots of tiny little fish.
Yeah.
In the water, and they like to come check you out.
I enjoyed just sitting with my feet in the water by our campsite here, and the little fish were coming along. They were quite interested in my feet, and even when I stuck my hands down in the water, they didn't scoot off. They found that interesting too. These were not minnows. They were young fish. I don't know what they were. I think fishing is a popular activity in this park. Don't know what they're fishing for.
There are some sites that we'll recommend. We'll make some notes in the description of the video. There's a lot of sites, the kind that you like especially, which have rocks in the back, and there are some places with majestic rocky granite cliffs behind the site. Most of the really impressive ones are not serviced, unfortunately, and most of the sites in the park are shady, so I don't know how much boondocking we could do here. Not with our current battery.
Yeah, there's probably some spots in Meadowlands that we could do. The other thing too about the service sites in Meadowlands, there's very few, and so they butt up against non-service sites, which is always a bonus in our books.
Right. What's interesting to me, just in the grand scheme of how we plan our trips, so this is a 4-night trip, and I am comfortably reconciled with the notion of going home after a 4-night trip.
Yeah, we've kind of been there, done that.
Right. So it occurs to me, also because it is a bit of a drive to get here, and we're taking advantage of free 407 access promotions and that kind of thing, because you've got to drive across Toronto to get here from where we are, and nobody's got time for that. So breaking that drive up by doing, we had previously thought, maybe do a 2-stop trip. And now I'm thinking, why not even like a 3-stop trip? Mm-hmm. If you wanted to come and visit parks, because this is definitely a park I would come to. I would either choose a site very carefully or hope for dry weather, because the experience can vary, as we have found out. But, there's other parks in the area, like Murphy's Point, mm-hmm. Which is quite close to this park. There are parks like Bon Echo and Silent Lake and other parks. Frontenac is one that we haven't been to. There are several parks out this way.
Presqu'île along the way, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we haven't been to Sandbanks for decades. For 28 years. Yes.
So do a 3-stop trip and break that driving up, or at least make the long haul across Toronto worth the trip.
Well, at least, once you make it past Toronto a ways, you can stop at the Big Apple.
We would certainly come back here and visit other places. Our 3-night trip is probably just about right.
Yeah.
There we are. It's the last trip of 2025 for us. Been a good season.
It has. It's had its moments of drama, but it has been a great summer.
Next stop, winterization.
Oh no.